Welcome to the Black Marriage and Family Therapy Matters podcast, where we connect Black families to Black therapists. On Mondays, you will receive direct therapeutic support from a licensed therapist or professional connected to the mental health field. They will provide therapeutic and educational resources to help you have a healthier relationship with your family members. On Wednesdays, you will receive direct tips and resources to help you get through the stuck places that prevent many people from having the relationships with their families and significant others that they desire. On Fridays, we want you to visit our blog, which can be found at www.blackmftmatters.com, which holds additional resources and action steps that you can begin implementing immediately to improve your relationships. This is necessary because we love that you are listening, but we want you to take action too. While you are there, please grab our A to Z Relationship Bootcamp and be provided with the skills you need to immediately communicate better within your relationships. Please note that while the therapists on podcasts are therapists, they do not serve as your therapist unless you have signed a confidential agreement with them confirming that relationship. Thank you in advance for listening, and we hope you are inspired. All right, it's time for the show. Here is your host, Dr. Connie Omari.
Hey, and welcome to the Black Marriage and Family Therapy Matters podcast, where we connect Black families to Black therapists. Today's guest is Janisha Mickens-Ingram. Hi, Janisha.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. Can't complain. What good would it do anyway, right?
There you go. What good would it do? Exactly. Well, listen, I'm going to introduce you to our guest today. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Awesome. Janisha Mickens-Ingram, also known as Nish, was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, and resides in Compton, California. Janisha graduated from Crenshaw High and shortly married at the early age of 21 and has two beautiful children. Janisha has been in the mental health field for over 16 years. She is currently working her own private practice and leads at a wellness center. As a therapist, but most importantly as a human, her ability to connect and relate with almost anyone, no matter their race, gender, culture, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, or age. Janisha specializes in assisting those who suffer from lack of self-esteem, codependency, attachment or detachment issues, decrease of self-worth, depression, anxiety, and all-around fear of success. Her main focus is breaking generational patterns with empowerment, perseverance, and igniting resiliency. She is a firm believer that therapy is a place where you can be transparent with no judgment. A safe place where you can be your authentic self. I'd like to introduce to you Janisha Mickens-Ingram. Hi. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Yo, you just fired me all the way up. Like, oh, that's me.
Yes, that is you. That is you, Compton. Awesome.
Come through.
Well, before we begin, we've heard a lot of stories about Compton, California. I myself I've never even been to the West Coast. Can you believe that?
Oh wow! Well, it's crazy because we don't travel that much either, and I live in California, so there's a lot of places I haven't been either.
Awesome. But I have to say, from what the media has heard of Compton and what we hear, the mere fact that you are a professional and the fact that you are doing your thing to inspire this community is so awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about how you were able to just work through some of the barriers and be a counselor today?
One of the main reasons why I chose to work in my community is because a lot of individuals choose not to go to therapy or go seek assistance because they don't have anyone that looks like them. It's important to be able to see someone in the mirror that not only can, relate and raise and culture, but also understand the trials and errors and possible conflicts of living in an environment that we live in our society, urban, ethnic, societies or environments. So that was my goal. Yes, I can go work anywhere. as being a licensed therapist.
Right.
And financially, it would be more gainful to do so. However, if we all choose to go for where the money resides,
right. Hello.
how are we going to heal our community? And not saying that, no, I don't want money. Yes, I want financial gains too, but it's so many different ways that we can do that within our community and with the work we do. So I work in a wellness center that is literally 5 minutes away from me. And my private practice is solely me, but I'm contracted, and that office is in Santa Monica. So I'm still in, the rural areas, but also I'm available to anyone because I work from home. As being a private practice individual, I can work with anyone. So a lot of my clients are not even African American.
Okay. Wow.
At the wellness center, they are.
Because
I'm in that community, but my private practice is very, it's not exclusive to just one culture, one race, one sexuality, one gender. I have a platform full of individuals that are amazing, despite if they look like me or not.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that. So, just hearing you say some of this, we service people. This podcast is heard. I'm actually really pleased to know. I was looking at our data, and we see that we're all over the United States. We have reached into the United Kingdom, and we are also being heard in Africa. So in all of those communities, whether it's Compton or whether it's, Crenshaw, wherever, people are coming from very disadvantaged. It could be like a village in South Africa, or it can be a small, overlooked community in the United Kingdom. Having come from a place where there's a lot of maybe crime, lower income, etc., racism, all that stuff, how did you break out of that?
I'll leave to say I wasn't aware of my privacy growing up. I was, taken care of very well by my grandmother. My grandmother raised me. My mother and father. My mother was more so a part of my life, but my dad was more of the, poppy and pop-up type of father. Yes, he brought me Jordans. Just, those typical father things that have financial gains. Like I was able to get those things from him, but it wasn't consistent, right? And so my grandmother never showed me that, you don't have. It was more like you buy what you need and you don't buy because other people have. So I never looked at it as the perception of, wow, I don't have this and I don't have that. I was okay with whatever I had. I adapt very well. And going to Crenshaw, I didn't know it was any difference between educations, right? I didn't pay attention to it until you start getting older, probably 11th, 12th grade, and you're like, okay, SAT scores, was I prepared for this? Or, why are these other schools track teams a lot more structured? Or, just different things that you start to realize as you get older. So I think that me breaking the cycle in resiliency is not because of the environment I was in, but because of the upbringing. Being raised by my grandmother made me see that I didn't want to repeat the same cycle that my parents repeated. And how do I break that cycle? Because that ultimately creates the environment that we live in. Love it.
Well, I love what you're saying about that. And that's a nice transition to go into our topic for today, which is breaking generational patterns, which you have clearly done. I hail and salute you, my queen. You have done this. Now I need you to speak to how we can help other people to do that as well, members of our community. And I say that because human behavior, we talk about that in the things that we study, like you repeat what you see, positive reinforcement. You get rewarded for a certain behavior based upon the responses that you get, and you do it over and over and over again. How do you recognize when something is not working and do something different?
Here's the thing. We know when something's not working. We just become complacent with the fact that it doesn't make make us as uncomfortable as change. And that's something that myself, I still struggle with that, right? Everyone struggles with it, but you can struggle but still aim for change. And in our community, being brought up in single family homes, the fathers are present, but they're not present. So they're there, but they're not interacting. They're not socializing. The mothers are there, but we're not being emotionally attached to our children. We're more focused. And this is me personally, just out my lifehood. So I'm being very transparent.
Absolutely.
The focus are, right now I need to pass this exam. So my kids were neglected to emotional support as far as, personal time. We didn't have too much personal time because I was going for something else. But finding harmony between that was like, okay, I can study these hours because they're at school. And then when they're off school, I'm all theirs. Or if they say, hey, I want to do that, it's like, drop what you're doing and do what they want to do because they don't ask for much. So it's important for us to realize that we don't have to become our parents' story. And because you didn't get attention from your parents or you didn't have a good bond with your parents, that doesn't mean that you should continue the same pattern because you can see how that has affected you. And so the detachment of that it's hard because you're so accustomed to not being emotionally attached to someone that it's so uncomfortable to say, hey, I love you, or give me a hug, give me a kiss. So those are the type of things that you bring up in the beginning, like what are your family structures? Like what is your genogram? How does your family interact with one another? And what is it that you want to see? Do you want to see change? Because some people will say, no, I'm comfortable with what it is. But they're there for a reason. We're coming for therapy or coming for counsel for something. And so initially when we come for therapy, it's not really what we come for. It's really a family dynamic issue.
I love that. I love that. So what do you do when people come for the identified client, which is sometimes the kid who's getting expelled from school, but they're getting expelled from school because dad was beating mom up last night and they're depressed and don't have anybody to talk to about it?
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm very transparent. Usually when we get children, and I've had several clients that come in and they're saying my kid is tantruming, they need help. And eventually I say, no, you need help and the father needs help.
Right.
Because what's happening is the children are becoming the adults, are being in adult business, and they're not differentiated. So there is no hierarchy, or the hierarchy is just transferring all over the place and you're asking your children to choose sides, right? And so it becomes complicated because now instead of the child being able to talk to mom and dad, they're talking in tantrums and behaviors in school to say, help me, my parents are effed up, right?
Right.
Like things are not going right. And you can notice that in any time in your personal relationships, say for instance, you and your partner gets upset with each other, kids feel that tension, right? And so once they feel that, they become a triangle, and we triangulate. Like maybe you're cuddling more with your kid, or maybe you're working a little more than you usually do because you don't want to address the real elephant in the room. And it feels so much better to be like, okay, I'm being productive. Right. And this is something I've done several times. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to therapists. Right. I'm just saying what it really is. And once you identify, okay, you're doing this because you don't want to address something. So I reflect and I go address it. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Absolutely. But who cares? I'm not going to inhale all this stuff for years and months. And then when something small happens, it just busts up and mess up the whole family dynamic.
Got it. What's one thing that you wish Black families knew about their ability to break generational patterns?
I think one of the things that our community needs to realize is that chasing the bag, financial gain, does not give you emotional gain,
yes,
health gains, relationship gains, everything outside of something physical. You can't take those things with you, and people only are left with memories and relationships. And because we are so deprived financially most of the times, our focal is so off track. You know, we're all about looking good for the gram, looking good to perceive that we're something else. I was listening to E.T., motivational speaker, and he was like, everyone talks about they want to get more money. You want to get more money. What are you going to get more money for?
Right.
You're doing the same shit you've been doing. I was like, oh.
Right.
I was like, that's it. Like, and yes, I like nice things. I love nice things, but I'm not going to sacrifice savings where I'm not going to be able to do something that is going to give my kids experiences over me looking good for one day. Right? Like, and that's what our community needs to understand, is that you don't have to have this look to represent that you have money. Because if you look at the most wealthiest people, they are in, you know, they probably have name brand stuff on, but you will never know it because they wear the same stuff. They look dingy or whatever. It's the perception that they give. And I just want our community to know that the focal is not what you can give your kids. It's the experiences and the relationships that we are supposed to build with one another.
Well, I wish I had exact statistics in front of me, but one of the biggest things that I know is that we are amongst the biggest consumers in the country, Blacks, but yet we have the highest poverty rate. So we
absolutely. And if you think about it, if you look at it just off of the pandemic, right? And this is a real thing here. Everyone did EDD, everybody did a PPP, right? And if you don't know what that is, it's getting unemployment when you really don't need it, right? Or you didn't deserve it, or you're applying for these loans that's a lump sum and you don't have a small business, right? And so, not saying or judging anybody, but what did you do with the money? What did you do with the money?
Right.
Did you invest in yourself? Did you bring up a new business? Did you, are you living in the projects and you're still wearing the Fendi, the Gucci? And hey, you ain't got to get a house. You don't have to buy a house. You don't have to have your own condo. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, how did you elevate yourself and your family other than keeping a look and you ain't got a dime afterwards?
Absolutely.
And now you're selling your shit back.
Right. That part.
But I want to buy it if you're selling it.
Right.
Whatever you have,
yes. This is reminding me of two things. Just one of them, real quickly. I have multiple streams of income, not to flex, but I do it.
No, flex. That's the problem with the Black community.
Right. Yeah,
it's okay to flex. It's okay.
Well, I try to be smart with it.
You're humble with it. Embrace that. So start that over.
Okay, excuse me. In one of my forms of multiple streams of income,
yes.
I have a cleaning business, and I basically dispatch cleaning jobs to residential and commercial facilities. And I just had this cleaner who just didn't show up to work. And I knew exactly what it was. It was February. I think that was around the second or third stimulus. Which one was that? Or something. But I just, I was like, so, and I ended up firing her. But the bigger picture was, I sat down and talked to her. I said, you're going to not show up to this job that you need, mind you. Because you're getting what I think she had like 8 kids, so she got quite a bit of.
Right, she got a good chunk.
But I can assure you it's gone by now. Like, I'm certain, okay, that it is. She's back on the market. And I was like, why would you do that? In the meantime, this is something that I've worked hard to build. I invest in it. It takes resources for me to find and recruit these clients anyway, so you can have an income. and this is the thanks that you're giving me, you know. And so I terminated her, but it just goes to speak to what you're saying. And my second point was a very similar issue. I have a cousin who spends it doesn't make a lot of money, and they spend a lot of money on things like Jordans and Tims and all of this. Of course, my kids are still into like Paw Patrol, you know, and Peppa Pig. So we joke with CY, so we buy those little cheap things. But they enjoy it. It's fun. But
it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
It's really not cheap when you think about it.
Not cheap.
But the more important thing is that they like it. They enjoy these kids don't even know who Michael Jordan is. You know what I mean? What
has Michael Jordan done for you? What
Right.
But I love the fact that you brought that up, because I grew up with one of my brothers, so my brother was into like the name, the brand, because he was a boy, he was in the streets, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't really get teased. Me, on the other hand, I'll say, okay, you take your pair of Jordans and Granny take me to Payless, and I can get 5 for 1, right? And I'm still low key that type of kid inside. And it's like, girl, you can afford the Louboutins, but they're not comfortable. I don't like them.
Right.
I can go get me an off-brand pair and they're so cute, and I'm gonna rock them, right? And so it's just being. And it's all about the experience. Like my son, he don't care about none of that. He has all these tennis shoes. None that I brought. Some of them donated because I take hand-me-downs.
That's exactly what I was gonna say with my cousin. I took them hand-me-downs. I was like, yeah, now my kid's gonna have them, and I ain't gotta pay for them. You know?
Exactly. Yes, so being okay with certain stuff like that in our community. Oh, I don't take hand-me-downs. Well, I do.
I don't have to, but I will gladly accept them.
Right? Can I go buy these things? Absolutely.
Right.
But guess what? My pride is not gonna overwhelm me. Like my son, he wears the same shoes all the time. He wears these raggedy Nautica shoes that I paid probably $16 for. He wears his Crocs, 2 pairs of Crocs. Those are the 3 shoes that he rotates in. He presses the issue if we make him put on any other kind of shoes, foam posits, all these other shoes. He's like, no, ma'am, no, sir. I'm like, it doesn't match. Oh well, I'm okay with that. And allowing him to be his authentic self is so much important, because in this world, when I'm not here, is he gonna have to adjust to everybody else's perception? No, he's gonna be the kid like my daughter. Like, no, just because you got it, I don't want it.
So now this will be really, really important for me to make sure that I see clarity on, because I know this is also important. That's easy for us to say when we are grown, when we're adults, when we have been, you know, through these things. But as a child, you know, back then we didn't have Facebook, Instagram, you know, all this stuff these kids got today.
Right.
So what do we say? How do we support families when they do have children who are young and, you know, will get bullied and teased? You know, on the one hand, you don't want to enable that mentality, like you need the designer clothes to be self-worth, but you also don't want your kid getting bullied at school. So, I mean, are there ways and strategies that you would recommend for something like that?
So I'm a strong believer it starts at home, right? So I wasn't a branded type of person. I think I'm more into certain things. Like I like something and I'll get it. Like it's a certain brand that I like, I'll continue to do it. But I'm more so like, okay, let's go to Target, let's go to Walmart. You want to get some shirts and stuff like that. So it starts at home, and you build that self-esteem, because I have a lot of clientele, a few clients that suffer from low self-esteem, and social media is very detrimental to their mental health. And so what I have to bring to the forefront is, you know, personal experiences within their family. So I'll say, so who in your family that you know rocks these things? And how are their relationship with their parents? Or, you know, how do they really act off of social media? And then I'll say, okay, well, imagine everyone else who's posting, they're depressed, they're sad, they're wearing a well-faced lie. You know, they're showing this perception that they're okay. But after they get off of Facebook, they're like, oh my God, but this is their cry to say, look at me, I'm fine, I look good, for the attention that they're not getting at home. So it takes a long time to get to that process, but it gets there because you have to bring real life facts over feelings, right? Because I look at Beyonce, and I be looking at Taraji P. Henson. Taraji is probably more relatable, right? Because she hood, she talks hood, she still has her authentic self, but she now is like, oh, here's my Gucci here. It's like, yeah, word, girl. But it's not a hating perspective, but it's like, okay, now this is another individual that deserves all of this, but now the people who can't get it are now trying to implement everything that she has going, but not doing the work to get there. If that makes sense.
Love it. It does. It does make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. What can Black families learn from even our generational system of poverty? Like when we look back and realize that our grandparents were in Jim Crow, or some of our parents were in Jim Crow, and didn't have a lot of resources. And before that, there was slavery. Like, what can we learn from that today?
To don't be close-minded to other options, right? So, for instance, we all want to buy nothing but Black, right? Buy Black. Sometimes buying Black may not be it, right? Yeah. That's just like going to therapy. I want someone that looks like me. Absolutely. I'm a go getter for that one. But sometimes people like me cannot help you. There are some great clinicians, despite the color shock, the culture shock or whatever, that can help you get to where you need. So one of the things that I want individuals to know is that be open-minded to multiple options, right? Yes, go to your first option. Black lives matter, Black businesses matter, but don't stop your growth because someone in your community can't provide you the service, right? And that makes us so complacent where it can be two ways. Like most people go downtown to spend their money with the Asians and Hispanics, but then you have someone that you just linked up with that does the same thing. Yes, their price might be 5 cents more, but you think about it, they don't have the resources that these communities have. So be open-minded that because you're supporting my Black business, that you're paying because I don't have the resources that the Asian community have. I don't have the resources that the Hispanics have. I don't have the linkage. So I actually, every month I spend my money with a Black business, right? And I don't care what it is, I'm spending my money with them because I know myself having a Black business of crafting, I have to pay more money for my products.
Absolutely.
Right? So be open-minded to knowing why you're doing this for your community, and don't pick and choose because, you don't want to pay the extra $5 from Chantel, and then you go to Zen because it's $5 shorter because she has, Korea sending all her stuff. Like that's just not cool.
Yes. And not only that, I mean, I want to go so far as because, I've had multiple entrepreneurship journeys, and I found myself in hot water because I wanted to employ my people. Okay. And there was this perspective that Black businesses are not, the stereotypes that we give Black businesses. And because of that, my Black business performed that way. But I'm like, but wait, I'm relying on your labor. Like, I need your support. You are my business, the face of it, but the actual work is being conducted from you. So you can't in one breath say Black businesses don't pay on time, or Black businesses don't have resources, or Black businesses don't care, when you're the person performing this work and you're the one who's doing it. So I just think that's very important too. We have to understand this, but just because we're business owners, just because we're therapists, just because we have advanced education, we're not immune from the same racial injustices that you all experience. So if we're going to be working together, let's work together here.
Exactly. And that's a lot of times, well, girl, I gotta go get my, Okay, but if you was working for corporate America,
would you be doing all that?
Would you be doing that? No. So you can't, it's facts and feelings. And at the wellness center that I work at, I have the biller. She always calls me the facts and feelings guru, because I always say, okay, take away the feelings. You can have that. But what's the facts? The facts are, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. And that's not your job. Right? So if you're coming to work for me, or you're getting service from a Black individual, African-American, Hispanic American, you supposed to still require great customer service, great employment services, benefits, whatever the facts are, those need to stay the facts. You having your kids, that's your business. That's your fire. That has nothing to do with me. You still are supposed to show up on time. If not, that's a consequence. Because if you were working for Marriott and you decided to not show up, guess what? They're going to say, all right, peace, deuces. You figure it out. Your kids have nothing to do with the facts of my business.
Absolutely.
Or whatever the issue is. Not saying that I'm not sensitive to the fact that you have kids.
Well, but there's an expectation, I think, that we, like you said, why would we expect you to be any more sensitive than we would the manager at the Marriott? You know what I'm saying? Like, for some reason, I think that we say, okay, well, this person looks like me, so she should understand that I didn't have no babysitter. We might understand that, but that doesn't mean, you know, from a business perspective, that we can tolerate that.
Absolutely. And that's where the mindset change has to be. It's the mindset thing, because we're so complacent with, all right, the homie got my back, or, you know, she look like me, so I'm going to be able to get away with this and that. No, sir. No, ma'am. No. I need you to be here on time. Because if you're not, somebody else will want to be here.
That part. And if they don't look like you, don't blame me. You know,
because don't look at the underlying issues of that. Because I've had these conversations with my grandmother, like, yeah, you know, try to stick within your community, yada, yada, yada. Absolutely. I will try. But for instance, when we were looking for this house, I was like, I want nothing but Black people.
Right.
I just want Black people, right? And I was like, okay. And I was talking to my realtor, and she's Black, and it's another Black realtor, so it was a dual team. And I was telling her, I was like, I just want a Black team, a whole Black. I'm gonna try to get you the all Black, but the white people might have something better for you. So which one you want to do? I said, okay, I'll go with whoever can help me. Whoever can help me is what I need. So that's where the mindset change. Do you want to be out of this bubble? Or do you want to stay in a bubble of you only have a minimal selection because you want to stick with your culture? And that's part of racism.
Right? Absolutely. We don't want it done to us or against us. But then we take that mindset into how we're making our choices. Absolutely.
Exactly. So you're part of the problem if you feel like you can't support other people's businesses, because that white person or that Asian person may still experience the same poverty and experiences that you have experienced. They still have a family to feed. And guess what? They still want to help your Black self get this house because it's going to help them feed their family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in return, if you have a house that you're comfortable in and you can do your work and still inspire the communities that are important to you. Like, it's a reciprocal thing. Like, you got it taken care of so that you can give the gifts that God has created for you to be.
So when you move into a white neighborhood and your Black and Hispanic self is in that white neighborhood, you are part of the change in that community. You're showing them we too can do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love your perspective. Thank you for that. Are there any resources that you think might be helpful to help the Black families break these generational curses?
There are tons of resources in your community. A lot of times we say we don't know. And one number that I can tell everybody, 211. If you ever have any questions of any need, if you just dial 211.
What is 211? I've never heard of 211.
So 211 is a number here I think it's nationally, but in California for sure, you can call and you can say, hey, I need a mental health worker, or can you
awesome.
me to this person, or I'm having an issue with not being able to find a free dental provider, whatever. Also, Google. Everybody else
everywhere for sure. That part.
You on social media for everything else. You're on the internet for everything else. It's not hard to find resources. In every community, there is a wellness center. In every community, there is a hospital. In every community, there's a liquor store, right? So every community has these resources. You just have to be unlazy and just pick up the phone or use it.
Absolutely.
So, and everyone knows somebody. If you don't know, pick up the phone and ask your favorite cousin.
Yes.
Your auntie. You know?
Yes. All right. Have you read or listened to anything recently, or any suggestions in general for things that the Black family could get connected to inspire them to break generational curses that way?
I love E.T., Eric Thomas. He's great. I love the book Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes.
All right.
That was amazing. That is where I got the just drop what you're doing and work on, like if your kid comes to you, the Year of Yes, you're not turning down anything for that whole year.
Okay.
And a lot of times I like to tell people can motivate you all the way, but if your mindset is still complacent and you still are not active and action driven, that motivation ain't gonna do nothing for you. Because I feel like I motivate everybody every day. Like that's what I do. My energy is just naturally on high all the time. But if my clients don't put into action, I'm like, yo, what am I here for?
Right, absolutely.
Like I'm your cheerleader and you're still sitting on a bench.
Right.
Like, bro, can you give me I need you to show up for yourself, because I can't work harder than you're working for yourself. And so listening to like podcasting is amazing because you get some great diamonds. Clubhouse actually is a new platform that has a lot of BS.
I need to get on that. Yes, I need to.
It has a lot of BS, but once you find your zone and the clubs that you want to join, it's definitely educational. It's definitely inspiring, but without any action, inspiration is nothing.
Got it.
So I suggest everyone to create their ET told, I think it was ET on one of his things, your reasons why. So I have this vision board. That's why I looked over here. So I created a vision board, and I haven't did a vision board since I was little. And then my brother came and he had a vision board, and I was like, whoa, he had a vision board and I ain't got one. It took me a minute to get outside of myself. Like, okay, let me do my vision board. And every so often I go over there and I read my 10 commandments to myself to support my reasons why. If you don't have anything to push you to get there, you need to reevaluate yourself and find those reasons in that fire, because going to a 9-to-5 every day can be easy. But guess what you can do when you ignite who you are and thrive in what you want to do. The limit is limitless, right? You know, because your job has limits on you. A 9-to-5 has limits on you. You only gonna get paid what they think you're worth.
Absolutely. Give me one myth that you wish the Black community could debunk about the generational curse of poverty.
It's our parents' fault.
That part. Tell me more.
It's our parents' fault. How long are we gonna blame our parents?
Yeah. I mean, we were all born with the ability to choose, right? And
absolutely.
We can take our circumstances, or we can let our circumstances take us.
And I think I would like to add too that therapy is not for Black and brown people. Therapy is therapy is definitely for us, especially when you have a dope therapist like me. You be like, okay.
Love that. Well, hopefully we're going to let a lot of people get more exposure to you through this, and hopefully and we'll get a little bit more about your practice as well to see how people can work with you. Okay. At this time, I want to go into a segment of the show. We call it What's Good, What's Good is a place in the show where we give a hypothetical situation and we like to solicit your advice for how to deal with it. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Meet Shanique. Shanique is the oldest of 2 children and has grown up in an inner city private community that is primarily African American. Within this community, she's smart, she makes good grades, she has a lot of friends, but she's very poor. Her friends tease her because she doesn't have name brand clothing. She wants to do well and fit in, but she also is becoming extremely discouraged by the amount of teasing and bullying that she has experienced. She recently found a pair of pants that were name brand, but they were too small, so she cut the tag out and put it on another pair of pants. She knew that she now had 1 pair of pants that she could wear that were name brand, but she couldn't wear those every day or she'd get teased about that as well. How would you advise Shanique?
First, I will kind of explore things that she likes. In her closet. Like, what are some of your favorite outfits without others' opinions, right? And then I will explore, what does friendships look like? Like, how does these friendships really affect your life? Are these people that are really there for you despite, what you have or what you don't? And what do you think friendships are supposed to be built on, right? So, no, I would not encourage her to go buy clothes, right? I would not encourage that. If she was to say hypothetically, oh, I know someone who does dupes. Okay. Is that something you like? Do you like it because you like it, or do you like it because of the brand, right? So we will explore those things. If she likes a certain look, I will say, okay, well, what about you saving up to buy, that, or if I can't afford it? Okay, so what can you afford? Are you comfortable in your own skin without others' opinions? So this is a self-esteem issue. This is not necessarily about financially, I can't afford it and it's affecting me. It's because other people's fire is becoming her fire, and we're not going for that. So ultimately, we're going to be like, F those people. They are not your friends, period.
Got it.
But friends don't judge you for who you are. So it will literally be me exploring all these things, and at the end coming up with her sense of self and being differentiated, saying like, I'm still smart, I'm brilliant, I'm in a school with people that they say I don't belong with, right? So in actuality, you're better than them because you made it against all odds. So it's all about the feminist strategic, mindset, because your mindset is now reflective on other people, and you're way too smart for that.
I love it.
So that's literally what I would do. Like, that's the process.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, this has been a pleasure to interview you today. I know that I love your energy. I love your perspective. And I know that's going to be very encouraging to the people who are listening to you. So let's give them a little bit of information about how they can find you if they want to work with you or just follow you on social media.
Well, you can find me at _happy therapist on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook group called Study Right, LMFT, Study Right on Facebook. And that's where I encourage future clinicians to join our Study Right group, where I help them pass the exam the first time.
Love it. Love it. Yes, yes, yes. Well, in your practice, if they want us, I guess the one in, not.
So I have Psychology Today, and then I have the Happy Therapist website, but I prefer you guys to go through Psychology Today because you can get the full scope of who I am and directly link to me if you want services. My fees range from $50 all the way to $150.
Okay.
I do provide a sliding scale. At the moment, I am only taking on private pay clients.
Okay.
So that means that I'm already booked up for all my panel, insurance panel.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We are very grateful to be able to be inspired by you. You have so much wisdom, and I know that you are going to be very, very successful in what you do. And thank you for sharing that with our audience today.
Pleasure, Dr. Connie. It was a pleasure. This is amazing.
Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful day. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Black Marriage and Family Therapy Matters podcast, where we connect Black families to Black therapists. Since you've listened all the way through, come on in and join the family. If you haven't done so yet, please join our free community where we offer weekly trainings and monthly giveaways. We can be found on Facebook under the Black Marriage and Families Matter Facebook group. And since you're serious about joining our family, we also invite you to join our All In campaign, which signifies your commitment to go all in, not only for yourself, but in helping us reach more people by downloading this podcast wherever you are listening to it, leaving us a review, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. This really helps us reach more people and change more lives. After all, Dr. Martin Luther King once said, we can all get more done together than we can apart. With that said, I want to encourage you to share this episode with just 3 other people who you think might also benefit from our community and what we are offering, with the hopes that all of you can join our All In campaign. When you're done, simply click the link All In campaign in the bio and receive a free copy of my course entitled Goodbye Toxicity, which is valued at $297. This course will help you to work through some of the difficult experiences that arise in most of our relationships, and it's completely free to you with your commitment to join our All In campaign. We look forward to connecting with you every Monday and Wednesday. Thanks for listening.